Good evening. I'm here to speak about an issue that most of you probably thought was done, and maybe it still will be, but I want to talk about four-year-old kindergarten, actually. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I got an update from Tom Hoffman. I want to thank Tom Hoffman. He really gets credit for this. And it was just an informational item he had on his website, as he's a candidate for the school board here, about 4K, and it referenced this document that I then went to. There's a link on there about the Burlington Area School District and an initiative they have. December 16th is the date on this, so it's only a month old for four-year-old kindergarten. And as I read Tom's article and then looked through the details online here for the Burlington Area School District, and I guess they're just in the stages that it's a committee and they're doing their homework on it. Something that many of us made clear here we wanted done, that it never really happened. We had a couple of people came in and talked, but we never got to see a budget impact. And when I look at what they have here, it shows that while there's a cost in the first year, and they're going to cover it with their reserve fund, and of course we have a reserve fund that's like comparable to the UW system. Remember where their reserve fund was this huge percentage, ours is like over 40%. They're going to fund it there. And then in the second year, they not only pay for the entire program, but they can completely reimburse the reserve fund for what they took out. It's almost a break even. It looks to be about $70,000 short, but they didn't even count additional monies to give for open enrollment, which you can take right away in the first year. So we'll just call it a wash. And then in the third year, it shows that they have a net increase in state aid of $511,000. And in the fourth year, $660,000. That's after the whole program is paid for. And so I think some members of the board stopped short on 4K. We heard that despite all the research in that, some people felt it was like free babysitting. But as a taxpayer and as a parent, I not only disagree with some of those beliefs, but I'm very disappointed that our district didn't do the basic homework of finding out what is the financial impact. And if I as a taxpayer, and if my neighbor as a taxpayer can save in property taxes, why aren't we doing this? It seems to be a win-win. Property tax people will love it. People that want to invest in student achievement will love it. If you buy into, which I do, the research that's been done, it says when you educate these students prior to kindergarten, that it ends up saving your district money in the long run anyhow. I mean, it's a win on every single level. And I talked to one of the school board members about this a couple of months ago, and they told me there's no such thing as a win or making money on enrollment. It doesn't work that way, that we only get like a third of the cost from state aid, even though the state talks about 2/3 funding. And I don't know if the board member still thinks that's true or not, and we need to get the numbers for our own district here. But Burlington isn't near as wealthy a district as we are here. Do you understand what that means? I mean, how many of you board members understand what equalization aid is? Does anybody know anything about primary, secondary, and tertiary? Okay, so I appreciate your honesty there. And I hope that you will say, let's look at this. Read the article that Tom has on his website if you want to get more details. But this is, let me back up a little bit. Mr. Byron, you did a wonderful thing a couple months ago. You said, I want to have a presentation, or some board members did, on our district financial outlook. And Mr. Yoke did a wonderful presentation here. We all saw it up on this board. And it showed a pretty troublesome 5-year projection. It said that our $7 million fund balance was going to be gone in the red in 5 years. So kudos for asking for that. That's smart planning. That's looking to the future. What are we going to do? But that was it. I mean, maybe behind doors, other things are going on, but we have a huge budget dilemma. And there's an opportunity for a huge savings. I think in Mr. Yoke's projections, he estimated something like a 20 to 30 or 25 to 30 student enrollment decrease every year, and that was really the big culprit. It wasn't that this board hasn't been very careful with the dollars, but K4, 4-year-old kindergarten, would seem, if we could just get like 75% of the students who will end up going to kindergarten, we could get 120 students in 1 year. So then you take in that whole 3-year rolling average thing and you only get to count 40 of them, and then it's half day, so you multiply that by 0.6, you can see the math on Tom's website. But then you actually end up with about 20 to 25 students per year increased enrollment. So we've stopped this problem with decreased enrollment. And that goes on for 3 years until the 3-year average then is the true average of student enrollment. So please, take a look at this, read about it, contact Burlington, let's get numbers for our district here. I realize it's January, but September 1st is quite a ways away, and if we can all save property tax dollars, and if we can increase student achievement, and we can continue with getting these students who need some of this help before they get into the kindergarten classroom, and where their needs are so high, they're slowing down the learning that's happening with the whole classroom, I think is a wonderful thing for everybody. And for those of you that are, all about taxes, and you should be after this. You should be on this. This is a way to save tax dollars, property taxes for the homeowners of the district. Thanks.
Thank you for your suggestion, Matt.
I'd just like to make a little comment. We have done our homework. We have looked at it. We did not come up with the numbers that you're talking about, neither for financial nor for the educational benefit. And that was the reason we have not implemented it at this time. We are looking for using dollars as needed, and that's why we have a 4-year-old program for the students that truly need to be in that. So it's not like we're ignoring students, and we are able to use Title I funds for the program that we put in place, and it's for those students that need it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that, by the way. I probably would be the person you're referring to, and I'll stick by that. I've never seen anybody make money off of students to run a school district. By your recollection, if what you're saying is correct, we should have 1 million people here, because in Waterford would have $1 billion to give back to the taxpayers. This district has never made money off of students, ever. No district that I know of has ever made money. That's why we have to collect taxes to run the schools. Why? It's not a money-making endeavor. What it is a teaching environment. You cannot make money from one group of students to offset the cost for another group. It just doesn't work. So I'm not quite sure what numbers you're referring to from Burlington, but Burlington will soon find out. No matter what you do, you cannot make money off of students without having some expense. Well, you have to hire teachers, you have to have more space, whatever it is. That's what's going to happen. We'll stick by that.
I'd just also like to add a comment, Bob. We did spend a lot of time on that. In fact, we had somebody come in that had started 4K in several other areas, whether he was doing it himself or whether he was working with other school districts. In fact, he was in with the state when they first started that program. So it's not that we didn't do our due diligence. We had people come in. We did look at the numbers. Thank you.
I'm not sure that we looked at the numbers of financial benefit or the need of the academic level. I think we looked at a lot of research of what they say the benefits academically are, but our academic need, I'm not sure that we looked at some of those things. But we had a vote on it, and I understand where everyone stands.
And to sum it up, that does not close the issue forever. I mean, we should be continually review. And
we did start the program we have now.
Exactly. You do have an opportunity if you'd like to speak.
I really appreciate it being very short. I just asked the superintendent before the meeting tonight if a budget projection was ever created or presented to the board members. We know it wasn't to the members of the community that were interested in this. And his answer was no, that you never did see a budget projection for 4-year-old kindergarten, not even 3 years of it. So statements have been made, and please do your homework and keep moving on this, because it means a lot to decrease the property tax.
I would disagree 100%. Mr. Yoke brought up $180,000 first-year expense out of the district's budget. So to say that there was no discussion of what the additional cost was 100% false. And it's not an income, it's an outgoing. So I disagree.
Thank you all. Are there any other citizen, is there any other citizen input?